Chapter 749. From that moment, the two began to meticulously dissect their recent battle with the monster, discussing every movement and sword direction in detail. Essentially, each was trying to prove and persuade that while the other had made the best choice, they themselves had not. Of course, no one was persuaded, and though a considerable amount of time passed without a conclusion, the atmosphere gradually became softer and more heated. When you faced the 11th monster, Commander, you changed the direction of your sword to draw it in. That didn't seem like your original intention, am I right? Yes, that's true. Initially, I intended to push it away, but somehow it felt like the right move. Turned out to be a good decision in the end. I agree with you there. If you had pushed it away, it would have been difficult to effectively check the 12th one due to the distance. Though you said it wasn't a conscious decision, Commander, with your broad vision, you must have been observing the 12th's movement pattern, so... I see. So this instinct that comes during battle, beyond the target and directly looking at, is informed by information from my peripheral vision? That's an insightful analysis. It would have been hard to understand without experiencing it myself. So, when you face multiple enemies, these two really... The cavalry often reflected on their battles afterward, discussing tactics and post-battle scenarios. However, this level of detail and direct analysis of each combat technique akin to analyzing a sports game was not typical. Looking closely at every small movement in battle was entirely different from discussing tactics. Tactics required a certain degree of objectivity, as they needed to be viewed from above the battlefield. But this was neither objective nor professional. It was merely a sharing of memories that only those who had fought together or who were deeply interested in swordsmanship or martial arts theory could enjoy. Yet strangely, he didn't want to end the seemingly pointless conversation. Either realizing somewhat belatedly that he was quite immersed and enjoying this discussion, felt a peculiar sense of embarrassment. Wasn't this conversation supposed to be about something else? So engrossed were they in their conversation that they hadn't noticed how much time had passed, and the water had cooled considerably. Either casually released some energy, warming the entire bath. The water, which had cooled, suddenly emitted steam as if freshly heated. Kishir, realizing what Either had done, paused and opened his eyes. You warmed the water? I didn't realize how much time had passed. We can't let our bodies cool down. Kishir, unfazed, simply widened his eyes. It was then that Either realized not just how absorbed he was in the conversation, but something else too. The flow of our conversation just now. It was indeed your intention, Commander. In hindsight, Either should have realized it earlier. Kishir was a master of conversation, adept at steering discussions as he pleased. Even with Either as his counterpart, changing the course of conversation was effortless if he so intended. The delayed realization was partly due to fatigue, and also, but it was enjoyable, wasn't it? Yes, the enjoyment of the conversation was indeed the reason. Initially, Kishir had drawn upon all his combat knowledge, hoping to convince Either not to regard his first battle as a failure or an unpleasant memory. Either was most knowledgeable about combat techniques related to the abilities of the Awakeners, but he was also confident in his understanding of swordsmanship, various weapon skills and martial arts, not falling behind in any of these areas. Even in areas he was less familiar with, his abundant combat experience helped fill any gaps. Naturally, examples from past experiences and newly discovered knowledge intermingled in their conversation, to which Kishir showed great interest. Conversely, while Kishir might have been far behind Either in combat experience, he possessed a natural analytical ability and a vast academic knowledge so extensive that its depths were unfathomable. Many of the unusual insights he mentioned were difficult to grasp through experience alone. It was only natural for Yudhir to be captivated by Kishir's eloquence as he generously shared his theoretical knowledge. Yudhir realized that he had never before engaged in such an objective and enthusiastic analysis and discussion of his past battles without any specific purpose. In his previous life, he had no desire for such conversations, and his comrades in this life were still too inexperienced in both knowledge and battle to freely discuss combat with him. Kishir spoke with a hint of amusement in his voice. It's only natural for one who wields a sword to enjoy discussions about swordsmanship. I certainly do, especially when it comes to analyzing battles I have personally fought in. How could one not find it interesting? I didn't start this conversation for fun. So, did you dislike it? No. Yudhir wondered if everything had played out exactly as Kishir intended, but decided not to dwell on it any further. His mind and heart, heavy with fatigue until a moment ago, now felt surprisingly light. The conversation shifted direction midway, so we didn't reach a conclusion. But I hope, Commander, you won't take today's unexpected events during the battle to heart. Shouldn't one who is harsh on their own mistakes be equally stern with others? That's irrelevant. Perhaps it was the lightness of his body and mind that made it easier for thoughts previously weighed down on his head to flow smoothly from his lips. If you, Commander, ask why, I just want to say that during today's battle with the monsters, you seemed more free-spirited than ever. Kishir's expression, previously cheerful, shifted subtly. That doesn't mean I thought you looked constrained before or that you were neglecting the seriousness of the battle. Anyway, I thought it looked good. So, if possible, I hope that in the future you can be more. What more could he add to accurately convey the emotions he felt then? He wanted to say that he hoped Kishir could continue to engage in battle freely and joyfully. Before Yudhir could find the words, Kishir spoke. No, you don't need to say more. I think I understand what you mean. There was no trace of the previous mirth in Kishir's voice. Yudhir tried to discern his expression, but Kishir suddenly scooped up water with his hands and washed his face, making it impossible to see. The only sound that filled the space between them was the gentle splashing of Kishir repeatedly scooping and pouring water his face. He's crying, isn't he? After a few more repetitions, the man finally slowly lowered his hands that had been covering his face. In place of his familiar smile, Kishir's expression now mirrored the freedom he had displayed in the heart of battle. Yudhir's heart clenched as if gripped by an unseen hand, beating wildly for a moment. Slowly wiping the water trailing down his chin, Kishir spoke in a subdued voice. I mentioned it as a commemoration, but honestly, I didn't consider it truly worthy of such until now. His whisper, carrying the heat of subterranean lava, seemed to transfer its warmth to the listener. Only after hearing your words did I realize that it indeed might have been something commendable. ... Perhaps it's because it's the first time I have been told that more could be done. A self-deprecating smile flickered at the edges of his blurred words, his red eyes holding a multitude of emotions as they fixed on Yudhir. A voice that only Yudhir Eel in this world could hear continued. To know that someone else, not just me, clearly understands what I felt for the first time today. It's joyous, almost miraculous. ... Yes, I'm happy. Repeating the words, Kishir's lips formed a bright smile. Thank you for saying that. If Yudhir had not understood the weight of years behind those words, he might not have felt the same way now. But Yudhir could guess the countless moments of enduring patience that Kishir had weathered to finally say those words. He might have been a man who could have vanished without ever experiencing the liberation he felt today. No one who saw or heard of his single-handed battle against the numerous monsters today could imagine those hidden moments Nor would they guess that this man with such a smile was a young man not even 30 years old. Yudhar's heart leaped wildly, a flame surging up from deep within, sending shivers down his spine. He couldn't hold it in any longer. He had to express this overwhelming feeling somehow. Yudhir rose and collapsed into Kishir's neck. The man, as if had been waiting, embraced Yudhir in his arms and buried his head. The water was churning and overflowing, but no one cared. Their lips met in an inevitable collision with no clear initiator.